Even if you don't know a thing about marketing, you know about keywords, but which ones do you actually target? And how do you know whether your keywords are actually good? In my view, there are two things that matter when you're selecting keywords: the search volume and the keyword difficulty. Let's break them down in turn. Keyword difficulty is essentially how hard it will be for your content to rank on page 1 of Google. It's a score of 1 to 100, where 1 is low, you can most definitely rank, and 100 is very difficult. Basically, you need a zillion backlinks and super high quality content to rank. Keyword difficulty is measured by the amount of competition for a keyword. A keyword with a score of 100 is extremely competitive. Something like news. There are millions of site owners who probably want to capture some portion of traffic from the keyword news. Because of this, it's going to be much harder for you to stand out. A keyword of 1, on the other hand, has hardly any competition. Therefore, it's much easier for you to rank. The other measure I mentioned is search volume. So search volume is how many searches per month in a given region there are for that keyword. Usually you'll break it down by the region you want to target, for example, the US or Canada. What I mean by this is most of the time, something with a ton of searches every month will have a higher difficulty and vice versa, but it's not always true. I recently worked with a client that owned a local business. They had a set of keywords that were generating thousands of searches every month in Canada, but the difficulty was so low it was almost laughable. So when do we see this happen? To be honest, it's normally just when a client is working in a space where there's not a lot of SEO knowledge. It'd be rare for you to work in tech, for example, and find keywords that have a super high search volume but a low difficulty. Conversely, if you have a local business like a restaurant or bar, a bookstore, or some sort of entertainment company, sometimes there's just not a lot of SEO knowledge in the industry, meaning you can get a huge leg up on the competition just by knowing the right keywords to target. All right, so the two biggest questions that I get on this topic after walking through keyword difficulty and search volume are, number 1, how difficult is too difficult? And number 2, what is the lowest search volume you would recommend going for? I know there's never a one-size-fits-all answer, but I'm gonna give you what I normally do. For difficulty, I always assess it based on how old your company is and how much of a brand presence you have online already. If we think about it in the most fundamental way, read how much traffic your website gets on a monthly basis, this is how I would normally break it down. If your website is brand new and you have no traffic yet, don't go above a difficulty of 20. If you're at around 1,000 visits a month, I would say anywhere between 20 and 40 is reasonable. Once you hit the 5,000 a month, then 40 to 55 is probably a good range for you. At 10,000, you can start to go up to 70, though it's still going to be tough for you to rank. And lastly, once you're at 20,000 visitors a month, you can go for those higher difficulty keywords, 71 or more. As you grow and generate more content and you find more traffic coming to your site, you can slowly increase the difficulty of the keywords that you're targeting. Of course, this table is not always accurate. There are other measures that I'll often look for when I'm working with clients. Some of the other measures that I'll often look for are things like how many pages do you have on your site, what's your domain authority, and how many backlinks do you have? Basically, how many other websites are linking to content on your site. If you want to chat about your business and selecting the right keywords, you can send me an email. My contact info is in the About page. All right, on to the second question. How low is too low? Again, just going by my rule of thumb, but for me, anything below 100 searches a month is just not enough. Sometimes it can be okay. If you run a very niche entertainment business in Toronto, for example, then sometimes 100 searches is all you need to get very highly qualified traffic. But for most companies, that's just not the case. Now, if you're in a really competitive industry, it's possible that you won't be able to find a keyword that has a search volume high enough and a keyword difficulty low enough that you think you'll be able to rank. In this case, you might have to just settle for the best possible option. Or you can think outside the box. Sometimes I'll look at other websites in my industry or try to find things that I might not have thought of off the bat. But think about it. If your keyword gets less than 100 searches per month and you're only going to get a fraction of that traffic, then is it really worth it to put something on your site that might not drive any traffic at all? Okay, so maybe you're thinking now that this is great, but how do I actually do the research? There are a few tools that you can use for keyword research. Unfortunately, all of them can be pretty pricey on a monthly basis, but a lot of them do offer a free trial. Even these expensive paid tools will often have free plans where you can have a limited number of keyword searches per month. So what I recommend is just make sure you're ready to get started and you have couple days if you use that free trial to do all the keyword research for your static pages on your website. The most popular keyword research tools are SEMrush, Ahrefs, and Moz. I've used them all and I don't really have a preference, though typically I use Ahrefs or SEMrush just because I like the user interface a little better. Now, if the free trial just doesn't cut it for you on any of these plans, or the free trial runs out and you're not done your keyword research, there is a free tool from Neil Patel called Ubersuggest, but personally, I really dislike this tool. I find it just hard to use and a lot seems to be missing from the interface. But that said, in some cases, it's going to be better than spending $100 a month or more. So there you have it. That's how I find the right keywords to target. Just go for the ones that have the highest search volume and the lowest keyword difficulty. Over time, as your website grows and you start getting more traffic, you can start targeting more competitive keywords. I hope you found this video helpful.